What's going on, everybody? I'm here to talk about the buffs and changes I've made to the Baxcalibur line. Not just Baxcalibur, but Arctibax as well. Before I get into any of this stuff, I want to emphasize that this is for a ROM hack, not anything to do with competitive or anything like that whatsoever. So if you got a little bit debated by the thumbnail and you're a new viewer here, I mean, not the thumbnail, the title. You know, if you were expecting some type of competitive analysis, I'm sorry about that. But stick around. This ROM hack is super dope. If that type of ROM hack interests you, yeah, definitely stick around. I would recommend pausing the video. Don't click off because it'll mess up my watch time. All right, just make sure you pause and give the description a little read because it has a lot of important background information about what this ROM hack is all about, the way I'm approaching balancing, and it'll just answer a lot of your baseline, like basic questions about what this ROM hack is. So definitely give that a look. Also, when you're done with this video, you can check out my other videos. I have videos explaining the ROM hack more in depth if you'd rather listen than read all the bullet points, although again, everything is in bullet point form in the description. It's pretty relatively easy to understand. Yeah, you can give my other videos a watch and then also join my Discord server for live updates on the hack, and then also click the Google Sheet down below and it'll link you to this Google Sheet that links to everything you would ever want to know about this hack, especially the move sheet. That's super important. Give this one a look when you're done with the video for sure. It'll explain a lot of the basic move changes in the game, all of these widespread moves, which is the most important, type of move because most Pokemon get access to these, So yeah. With that being said, though, Baxcalibur and Arctibax, I like to do something in this ROM hack, which is different from a lot of other ROM hacks, where I make a lot of the pre-evolutions or mid-evolutions actually worth keeping over the evolutions. All of the pseudo-legendaries, the mid-evolution will often either have different abilities or different stat spreads or different typings even to distinguish it from its final evolved counterpart. For it to be worth keeping past level 45, which is when they all evolve. At least if they're a 3-stage pseudo, they all evolve at 45. So yeah, Arctibax is incredibly tanky on the special side with that Permafrost. It's kind of funny, they actually fit ice scales, but of course Permafrost is renamed to fit other ice types besides these guys. But yeah, essentially doubling your Spadef on top of a Violite. I mean, even without the Violite, 80-67 with double Spadef is like absurdly tanky. I believe it'd be like 67 times 3, right? Is the base stat equivalent. It's not times 2 because that's not how base stats work in Pokemon, but it's gonna be like 200 base Spadef, roughly. Like, it's really fucking tanky, man. And then you add a Violet. I mean, this thing absolutely swallows special attacks. Even super effective special attacks it'll swallow. So that's super sick. And then, of course, it's also faster than Baxcalibur. I think design-wise, that makes a lot of sense for Arctibax. It looks a lot more agile. Like, it can run around faster than Baxcalibur could. And then Baxcalibur is much tankier on the physical side, and also has better natural bulk, of course, because when you're running Permafrost, you aren't running Hustle, for example, which is what Arctibax would use for damage boosting. And as you can read, Hustle is also buffed significantly. There's a whole list of moves that don't miss with Hustle. I'll get more into that later on. But yeah, Hustle's great on Arctibax, and of course Wide Lens won't miss with Hustle either. So that's all really great with Arctibax. If you're wondering, I mean, I went especially hard on Arctibax here because I like him more than Baxcalibur personally. I think Baxcalibur is kind of awkward looking and kind of dumb. But of course, Baxcalibur is still insane, right? Like, he's still got that insane physical bulk with Snow Warning, and his special defense is still great. I mean, 115, 92 is great bulk. And then 107 with that +1 boost essentially from the Snow Warning is huge, man. He swallows physical hits, even super effective ones he'll swallow. Thermal Exchange is useful for a free attack boost because not all of your moves are Ruthless boosted. That's the only really, I mean, the no burn, it's whatever, man. In competitive, it's obviously great because burn is much more common and much more debilitating. But in game, not only can you play around burn when there is a guaranteed burn to play around, but I mean, yeah, there's a lot of moves that are like 30% burns or even guaranteed burns in this game, but it's not useless. It's just by far the most niche of your 3 abilities, which is also why I removed it from the pre-evolutions, because I like them having a speed ability and Slush Rush, offensive ability, God, I can't talk, in Hustle, and then Permafrost for that defensive utility. And even without Permafrost, their Violite bulk is great, right? 80, 77, 67 with investment is very tanky. And in Slush Rush, if you're running them in Hail, you're taking physical hits even better than Baxcalibur is with a Violite, if you're running a Violite. So that's great. And you also don't even always need a Violite on Arctibax in the first place because of how fast and strong it is. It's its own Pokemon, right? It can use a Violite, doesn't mean it's always using it. Baxcalibur, again, is naturally much bulkier than Arctibax without, not counting, on the physical side it is at least. And then it's much stronger. For example, Baxcalibur with Ruthless is like, it's just much stronger. It's much stronger in terms of damage output, which isn't the most important thing when Arctibax is also strong enough to get some Okos and shit like that, but it will definitely matter at some point. So if you prefer that type of playstyle, you can definitely go for the Baxcalibur. But Arctibax with that 50% boost attack from Hustle is still incredibly strong from 110 base attack. Like, I can't emphasize how strong even that is, right? Let alone 145 with the Ruthless boost. I mean, it's honestly overkill at that point. However, it is nice to OHKO bulkier things or to just kill like neutral things. Like a decently bulky a decently bulky neutral Mon will just probably die to Dragon's Blade or Icebreaker with the proper EV spread and stuff. So that's great. However, all of those moves are balanced in the sense that they cannot be used twice in a row, so you can't use them with Choice Scarf. Well, you can use them, but you have to switch out, which is definitely a fair drawback, right? 81 base speed, I lowered his speed a little bit. Just number one, I don't really see him being that fast, anyways. Honestly, he could fit lower speed. But I did give them decent speed and also stuff like acrobatics because they're known for, like, if you've ever seen the Glade Rush animation in game, the dude, like, my man literally flips upside down and fucking like dashes forward. And then Arctibax's deck sensors talk about how maneuverable it is, and how it can like flip around. Yeah, here, it attacks with its blade of frozen. It attacks with the blade of its frozen dorsal fin by doing a front flip in the air. Its strong back legs allowed to pull off this technique. So that's the flavor for acrobatics. If that seems weird to you, that's why they have it. That also can't miss with Hustle. I have to. Oh, that's not. I'm labeling all the ruthless moves. Yeah. With Hustle though, I should probably list that as well as another move. I mean, there's a bunch more than these actually, but these are just the ones I'm listing. You can see a full guide for Hustle if you click Arctibax's. Jesus Christ, I did that wrong. If you check Arctibax's or Frigibax's ability, if you just click Hustle, it'll take you and explain more stuff. But honestly, I already covered most of it. Like, it's just a bunch of moves can't miss. So that's great, yeah. And that's really good on, Ice Shard, Hustle Ice Shard with like a boosting item, or just bulky Dragon Tail, Avalanche. If you keep them past level 45, which is roughly when you'll get the Avalanche TM, it's like mid 40s depending on the path, is when you get 5 badges. Avalanche goes fucking hard on Arctibax, man. I mean, it goes hard on Bax too, especially with Snowboarding to take a physical hit, but Permafrost Arctibax with the 140 base power Avalanche, man, it's fucking goated. I love these Arctibax, man. I mean, I just think they're so cool to, like, I don't know, it's such a unique take on this type of Pokemon. I guarantee you most ROM hackers are never going to think twice because, I mean, that's like a fair approach. It's going to evolve. Why would it be stronger? But it's cool. I like giving the player freedom because the game is balanced around Teamlocked. I think having your Pokemon be able to do so many different things and have so much choice in what your Pokemon can do depending on the situation is awesome. So you can even keep Arctibax past 45 and then eventually evolve it if you need the physical bulk or you need the damage boost or whatever it is. But me personally, I'm keeping Arctibax the whole game. I like Arctibax more than Baxcalibur, so that's another reason I buffed him so much. But it's not like objectively better than Baxcalibur. It's situational, right? And it's also dependent on your preferences, your playstyle, all that, your other teammates. If you have another special tank that you really don't need, another one, then keep it. Whatever. You can use whatever you want in this game. That's the point. Every Pokemon is great. Molt is given to lizard and bug Pokemon and other stuff, and that in this case it's bug type recover, right? So it's a recovery move, which is also great for something this tanky. You've also got your priority and Ice Shard. First Impression is also Ruthless boosted. All of these moves are Ruthless boosted. However, Laceration, Aqua Cutter, Dragon Claw, Jagged Edge, and Night Slash are not guaranteed crits. So you have to hold Scope Lens to get those to be Ruthless boosted. Also, Very Lace does not crit. That was because they used to have Sharpness at some point in planning, but then I ended up changing it because, okay, the reason they don't have Sharpness, I probably should have adjusted earlier because I know somebody might comment, why not Sharpness? Honestly, it's like the most autistic possible reason not to give it, but it's because of fucking Dragon Claw, man. Because their Sharpness comes from their blade, right? The fin blade. And they're not using Dragon, like that, no, they're not using that for Dragon Claw, that makes no sense, so it just felt super fucking weird for that to be Sharpness boosted. If it's Ruthless boosted, that's fine, because Ruthless is not necessarily Sharpness, it's also just like a person, like, he just is angry and strong, and so when he cuts you, it's with his claw, it's stronger, that makes sense. But, I don't know, the logic of Sharpness Dragon Claw on Baxcalibur and Arctibax really bothered me, so I took it away. Ruthless is obviously arguably better. Oh, I forgot to give him Temper Flare. That was one of the reasons I also gave them Ruthless, god damn it. Alright, well, if you listen all the way down to the videos, then good for you, because now you know the full move pool. Because yes, they do get Temper Flare as well, which is another Wicked Blow variant. Stone Edges as well. So those are all sick. Temper Flares might seem weird because they are Ice type, but number one, Thermal Exchange is kind of a cool little nod to that, and then also like all Temperflare really is just getting super angry, right? And they definitely fit that. And also, it's a cool reach. It's worth the reach for Ruthless. If they weren't Ruthless, I wouldn't have given them Temperflare. But because they're Ruthless, getting that 180 power physical fire move is super cool. Stone Edge 180 power. Of course, those are all the same effect as Icebreaker and Brutal Blade and Dragon's Blade in the sense that you can't click them twice in a row to make up for how strong they are, but yeah. Unlike those two moves, Dragon Hammer and Ice Hammer can be used twice in a row. However, those deal recoil. So those are both 120 power recoil, basically double edge, right? Ice and Dragon moves. So those are great on backs for like Scarf sets or on, I was going to say on Arctobacks for Slush Rush, but I forgot. I just realized I didn't give them to them. But even in Slush Rush, you can switch your moves. Meanwhile, with Scarf, you can't. So with Slush Rush, you can run, Arctobacks, Dragon's Blade into Icebreaker or whatever other coverage move you might want to run, Yeah, Triple Axle's kind of mid on them. It's honestly really just for breaking sashes because you have so many other good, strong physical ice moves. Ice Crash, 95 base power, 100% accurate. Excuse me. Avalanche is incredibly powerful, 140 power, minus priority for bulkier sets. Icebreaker is obviously incredibly powerful. So you've got you've got Ice Hammer, you've got all these other ice moves. Triple Axle being able to miss is kind of ass. It's only really good with Wide Lens to, again, break either focus sashes or multi-scale or whatever. So it's a situational move. I see them using it for the same reason I see them using acrobatics. They are pretty agile to be able to like flip around and do all this little gymnastics, to hit the Triple Axle. So I see them using that just fine. Sacred Slash, Cecil's Edge. Cecil's Edge might seem weird. Again, competitively brained players are probably like, what the fuck, Cecil's Edge, Baxcalibur, he sets up spikes. That's not really a big deal in game. It's not useless. It does breaks, sashes once in a while. It's not useless. It's just the fact that it's in competitive, it's a move that gives you progress and then also deals actual damage. In game, the progress is basically non-existent. It's just a damaging move with a very small niche side effect that can be useful in some situations. But if you want to OHKO something, you'd probably rather use another dark move in some cases, although this is actually their strongest dark move in this case with Ruthless. It's 135 base power. Sacred Slash is the same thing, both 135 base power with Ruthless, and those are guaranteed crits, so you don't have to worry about running scope ones with those. And you can use them twice in a row because they're weaker than Wicked Blow and Icebreaker and all those other variants of Wicked Blow. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. I mean, Battle Cry is great defensively on top of Molt. Battle Cry dropping both offensive stats by -2, excuse me, with 2 PP. Arcane Fangs is fucking goated with both Snowboarding and Permafrost because of how, not only is it just good stab up until you get Dragon Claw and Dragon Rush, because it's 85 base power. Arcane Fangs is essentially a physical Dragon type Giga Drain, right? So it'll heal you, and that's great with Permafrost. Great, and Snowboarding, because you're just so tanky, you can keep healing all the damage that you take. Again, tons of other coverage moves I could cover, but I'm not going to bother wasting my time listing every single one. You guys can read. I trust that you can read and look into what all these moves do if you're curious. But I've covered all pretty much the basic important information. Again, the choice between these two is super cool. I love it. That physical bulk on backs, or the special bulk on Arctobacks, the speed on Arctobacks, the damage on Baxcalibur. It's super cool, man. So thank you for listening. Let me know if you made it to this end point in the video. Oh, last thing for Hustle. I guess I can cover for early game. I mean, outside of like Hone Claws, which is obviously very good with Hustle, it's also nice because Smart Strike will give you +1 accuracy as well as deal damage and not miss. So you can use Smart Strike and then use regular ass moves like Arcane Fangs or whatever else, Ice Fang, whatever. You can use your regular moves after clicking Smart Strikes. You can finish something off with a Smart Strike and then click Ice Fang Hustle boosted without having to use Wide Lens. And then you can run a boosting item or utility item, However, even just straight up Wide Lens is good, especially because you're fast. You can actually outspeed things and click that Wide Lens Hustle. So, yeah. Overall, these guys are great. I love all of them. Even Frigibax is ugly ass. I kind of like him. I don't know. He's a goofy little guy. He's cute. And obviously, Frigibax is very strong up until level 25. He's bulky as hell with Permafrost. He's plenty strong with Hustle. He can be fast with Slush Rush. So, they're all great. Yeah, let me know if you made it to this point in the video in the comments down below. I appreciate you very much if you did. And I'll be back for more coming up. Peace.